go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Having Juice with OJ, with your host, OJ. And today we are here with the Enterprise Sports legend, the founder, and Dan Seravalli. How we doing, Dan?
OJ,
How we doing, Dan?
Thank you for the applause. Yeah, no, thank you for having me again, man. Looking forward to
Yeah,
it.
definitely. I mean, how have you been? It's been a while. Like, for me, just been crazy busy, honestly. Obviously, me and Dan have been doing a lot of work together with Enterprise. You know, not forgetting about USALA whatsoever. This is the place. How have you been?
Yeah, the studio is great. It's always a good time coming here. Second time being here. Last time we were here was a whole different situation. We were in the middle of the tour. Just got back from Georgia, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We were getting haircuts and doing a podcast. So good to be back. Excited to be back.
Yeah, that was right before probably my biggest video.
Yes.
Yeah, that was right
going to
before.
Penn State, yeah.
Yeah, my biggest video. Check it out, 1.3 mil. Pretty big.
Flex.
Yeah, slight flex. But nah, just keeping it going. Obviously, this episode probably will come out like Sunday. So Thursday Night Football will be closed, and we'll already know our answers, whether we were right or wrong. But we've got the Amazon Prime Thursday Night Football game.
Yes.
The worst games of the year, in my opinion, have been this Thursday Night Football. I don't know what it is. When it switched to Amazon Prime, I think that's what did it. I don't know what it is.
Well, I think it's on purpose, too. I mean, like, you don't want your star-studded game on Thursday night. You know, your audience just isn't as big. But the only thing that like annoys me,
You have a shorter week.
Shorter week, and what annoys me about it is you have the best two broadcasters doing that game, Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit, who I think is just an unbelievable analyst.
Yeah.
Can't even speak, but not only for college but for the NFL.
Yeah.
Breaks down a game.
The last Thursday Night Football game I liked was the first one, Chiefs-Lions. I mean, that was probably, like, Chiefs-Lions was the most fun one.
That was opening week.
Yeah, and it was the first week. It was the first game played. And since then, just completely trash. I mean, this game should be good.
I'm going to cut you off. So what do you think? Do you not consider Thanksgiving football like Thursday Night Football? Because it's kind of like a different situation. Because like last week's game was like, it's a good matchup.
Yeah, that's a good question. I wouldn't consider that like an everyday thing. I mean, like, we already know, like, Turkey Bowl type shit. Like, that's going to be good. It's going to be good games. I mean, it's mostly because there's multiple games. I think that's what, like, you know, like, makes the range a little bit better. Like, one of those games has to be good. Yeah. I think that's the difference. Like, with Thursday Night Football, like, I just consider that one game. That's it that day. And
they kind of moved the Thursday night game last week to Friday because you had the Friday afternoon game for Black Friday.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Black Friday, that game, like, that was one, I thought that was a really cool idea. I think it's cool that they figured out a way, because the reason why you're not allowed to have games on Friday, Saturday is because to give high school and college, like, their reigns, like, that's where the viewership should go, which I think they realized that didn't really affect it, like, with this.
Well, they had to be done at a certain time. I know it was like the game had to be over before 6 o'clock, I think, because they had college football that night. So
so I thought it was cool having a game at 3 p.m. randomly. I mean, like, why not?
Who doesn't like it? Just another game to lose money on. For us, especially.
For us, especially. It's been rough with these, like, 1 point and, like, 1 yard bad beats. I feel like it's been really bad recently. I just had one with De'Aaron Fox, 29 points. He had 8 missed free throws, I believe it was. It was the worst beat of my entire life. We'll throw it up there right here.
So the Thursday Night Football game tonight, I think it's a little bit better. The last 2 weeks, I know we don't count Thursday Night Football like on Thanksgiving, but the game last week, the late night game, was a solid game. You had two good teams, and Seattle back-to-back Thursdays playing, and now they have the Cowgirls tonight. So
the Cowgirls, really?
Yeah, the Cowgirls.
Okay.
Dallas Cowboys have, I feel like they're the most hyped team right now in the NFL. It's typical because, they're so-called
America's team, right?
Yeah, so-called America's team. But they only have wins this year over teams that are under 500, but yet Dak's the front runner for MVP.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, if you go online, you do your research. Everything points at Dak Prescott being the number 1 quarterback.
Do you think he is? Do you think he should be? I mean, do you think he should be regarded as the MVP?
I'm messing.
You couldn't even keep a straight face.
I'm messing. I'm joshing with you, bro. I'm joshing with you. But no, he's definitely not the number 1 quarterback in the league. That's like a hard give out, like saying the number 1, because I just think like there's a top 5. Like, I wouldn't say, like,
to me, there's number 1, and then there's 4 guys below him. There's a guy who stands on a pedestal.
Where number 1?
No.
No, who? Okay, Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
I was surprised you did not say your boy.
No, like, listen, I'm a realist at the end of the day. Like, I love Hurts, but Hurts isn't the number one quarterback in football. It's not even close.
He's not top 5,
It's a
though.
steep drop off from Mahomes to everybody else.
And obviously.
And I'm not taking.
He's the go to the generation.
Yeah, and not even that. Like, Burrow is right there, I think, as the next guy in
Even
line.
though he's just been so injury prone, it's really screwed up his career.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was out his first year with the torn ACL, and now he's got the wrist issue. But, again, steep drop-off from Mahomes to Burrow. But Hurts is in my top 5, if I have to. Yeah.
You would say so?
I would. I know people could be – go ahead.
No, you got
No, I know you don't. I know you have to say otherwise. But, no, to me, Jalen Hurts should be a top 5 quarterback. He started back-to-back years at 10-1.
I mean, he's a winning quarterback.
He's a winning quarterback. And for that, and I consider winning – I put winning into the conversation when it comes to my top 5 guy.
Yeah.
He's a great leader.
I'm going based off talent-wise, like looking at a quarterback.
But you got to give the guy some credit.
I mean, like,
he started back-to-back seasons 10-1. NFL quarterback is the hardest thing to do in sports. It is the hardest thing to do in sports, to play quarterback at the NFL level. There's not many good guys.
Except for hockey goalie.
No, NFL quarterback's harder. It's the hardest thing to do in sports.
Like there's an argument for both.
You have to be so intelligent to play NFL quarterback. It's such a skill.
You have to know everybody
level.
and what they have to do. Yeah, no, I get
the hardest
you.
thing to do. There's like 6 really good quarterbacks, and that's it. If you even consider 6 really good quarterbacks.
Yeah, the parity is like it's not as large as it used to be. Like with like talent, I feel like in general. Like I feel like talent has like it's just like the NBA where it's very like top heavy. Like in general, not even just about quarterbacks, but also about teams.
Do you think it's the lack of talent, or do you think it's the improvement of talent on the defensive side of the ball and the speed of the game? Because it's only getting faster.
But do we think these defenses are better than they were in 2000 to 2012?
I do, in a sense of like I think the athletes are better.
The athletes are better themselves?
Because now like quarterbacks, when you're, quarterbacks now, for the most part, you have to kind of have mobility now at the quarterback position. You don't have your typical drop back. So that's just a whole nother thing that defensive players have to prepare for. They always have to have a spy for these quarterbacks that run. The speed of the game is so much faster than it used to be. And the speed of every sport. Sports has just gotten better over time. All the athletes are better. Like they talk about, Gilbert Arenas talks about it in his podcast. He's like, they moved the three-point line in for guys in the 80s because they couldn't hit shots. The talent level is way better now. Like, so for people to say LeBron could never play in the 80s, it's just a blasphemous statement.
Well, that just makes no sense.
Steph Curry couldn't play in the 80s. It's a blasphemous statement. He'd score 70 points.
Yeah.
If, like,
well, if he had what they know now, like with what they do now.
Of course.
Like, you know what I mean? Like in terms of having that 3-point line, like knowing you can shoot from that far, because it was really a question of nobody really took it that far. No. It was like everyone was like, okay, well, this is the highest percentage shot you can get, so why not stay there? And then didn't realize like you could develop that outside perimeter game, and that would space out everything. And that's honestly the biggest change in basketball ever. Yeah. But
taking back on it.
Yeah.
So what we were discussing, top 5 quarterbacks.
Top 5. And then we got to NBA.
So So if you had top 5 quarterback, who are your top 5 quarterbacks?
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. I think those two take the cake for me. He doesn't he has not been proven in the playoffs exactly, but I'm going Josh Allen.
Oh, Josh Allen. Okay.
I'm going Josh Allen there.
Well, here's the thing with Josh Allen. And Josh Allen, I think, did prove himself in the playoffs. I think he lost to Mahomes twice, and he lost to Burrow.
And those are the two that are above him.
The loss against Burrow was tough. It was a bad look.
Tough.
It was a bad look. Listen, coming off DeMar Hamlin dying on the field, he's fine now. But they had that going into the playoffs. They lose the game at home in the snow to the Bengals. Not a good look. The two to Mahomes, I mean, he gave the Bills the lead with 13 seconds left in the AFC divisional round, and Mahomes led them down the field in 13 seconds and ended up, tying the game.
You can't do anything about that.
No. Like he hit Gabe Davis in the back of the end zone to take the lead with 13 seconds left. He put them in position to win. And the year before that, they were in the AFC Championship against the Chiefs. Chiefs are just a better team.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, you're just talking about a legendary team, a team that's going to go down in the history books. So, I mean, like, you can't really be really mad at that. Yeah. So, yeah, Josh Allen, I go 3. 4, honestly, for me, would be C.J. Stroud. I think C.J. Stroud goes 4 for me. I think it's more just about, like...
Over Hurts?
I know what you're saying. I know what you can say to me about this. But I'm going based off of the expectation levels and where they exceeded them and how they exceeded them. I mean, like everybody was saying Bryce Young was going to come out and be the better quarterback immediately, I think I actually read something that Frank Reich actually wanted to get C.J. Stroud, but the team themselves wanted Bryce Young. And you know how funny that is? He got fired, 1-10. But he didn't even want the quarterback. He wanted the other quarterback, and that quarterback is going insane. Some credit due to Tank Dell. He's having one of the best rookie wide receiver seasons I've seen in a while. But yeah, I think what the cards he got dealt, he overexceeded all of the cards. So that's why I would just like say that personally. Like, yeah, you can say if you want to start a franchise, you're most likely probably going to choose somebody who's been to the Super Bowl already and has seen it and has the experience. But when it comes down to Jalen Hurts being a top 5 quarterback, I really just look at what he brings to the table, and he's not. And there's nothing wrong with this because I'm neither of these things either. He's not the fastest, doesn't have the best arm, but he's got the grit, he's got the leadership qualities, so he has those things. He's got the heart. Yeah, he's a good leader. He's a little emotionless, and you talked a little bit about that. You were like, I just want a quarterback that shows a little bit more emotion when you hit a field goal to go into OT.
But on the field goal, I think he was just pissed off because they were in that situation.
Because they were in the situation
and they didn't need to be in that
itself.
situation. So
him and Jason Kelsey both looked like that. They were like, okay, well, I mean, here we go. Like, again.
Yeah.
I mean, Jake Elliott, though.
Yeah, guy can kick a football.
Yeah. He was doing it in the womb.
So your 5th quarterback would be who? Jalen Hurts.
That's where he should go. That's where he should go.
But you're not going to put him there.
But I don't think I'm going to put him there. I'm going to have to go with Tua. And I know I just explained not being the fastest and not having the strongest arm, but I just like watching that man, I think. Like, I just like watching it. I'd rather watch that than the tush push.
Listen, you're putting Tua Tagovailoa over Jalen Hurts. I feel like that's a little bit disrespectful.
I wouldn't say it's disrespectful. It's not like Jalen Hurts isn't the next one up.
I still feel like it's a little bit disrespectful. Like who has better playmakers? Tua. There goes my phone. Who has better playmakers, Tua or Jalen Hurts?
I mean, it depends because sometimes you say A.J. Brown's the number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah, but that's me just being a Philadelphia Eagle fan. But would you rather Tyreek? Would you rather Tyreek or A.J. Brown?
Oh, well, come on. Cheetah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's a valid argument. I think you can make the argument for both.
It is an argument, but I relate it to fantasy, right? Like, imagine picking A.J. Brown as your 2nd overall pick. Like, people pick Tyreek as the 2nd overall pick.
This year,
this year it would have been smart before knowing.
Yeah.
But going into every season without knowing what's the seasons to hold, especially the reason why he wouldn't be picked number 2 in fantasy ever, A.J. Brown, is because that next year you don't know how many times Jalen Hurts is going to throw it to him because you don't know how they're going to run their offense. So that's what I think is a big question mark with that.
I still can't believe you put Tua over Jalen. I feel like that's just so disrespectful to Jalen. Back-to-back 10-1 seasons.
It's about
back-to-back 10-1 seasons though to start. And he's the catalyst, man. He's the catalyst. C.J. Stroud over him. Blasphemous.
But it's just the fact of the matter is you put these other quarterbacks I named into his exact situation, and I think they over-succeed too. I
don't think Tua would have done it any better than Jalen, though. I really don't.
Any better? He'd probably match up the same exact way.
I don't know if he would. I
don't know if he squats 650.
Not only that, I don't know how Tua is running the tush push. He's a lot smaller of a guy. I don't know how he could run the tush push. He's a lot more injury prone.
I'm not exactly talking about just the tush push in this situation.
I'm not, but that's a big part of the Eagles' offense, and that's a big play for them to convert.
Because apparently it's like it's a 1st and 9 thing for them.
Correct.
It's like you get through. You got to get 92% of the time it works. 100% of the time, you guys quote that. Isn't the only person who stopped that Vita?
I think it hasn't been stopped often.
Yeah, I think Vita on the Bucks.
That's it.
He's a mammoth.
Yeah.
He's a mammoth. Have you seen that guy's calves? Look up a picture of this guy's calves at home. This dude has the largest calf muscle I've ever seen in my entire life. It's like moving a cinder block. Maybe like 20,000 tons of cinder blocks, I think, at once. I think he's the only person to have stopped it.
Okay.
So, but that's been pretty cool.
Unfortunately, he's on the Bucks.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Or fortunately for us, he's on the Bucks.
Yeah, I guess that's true for you guys.
But Hurts
Yeah,
Hurts to me has to be a top 5 quarterback. I think his body of work.
So would you agree though that he's not top 4? Like he's the 5th?
No,
you wouldn't.
No.
You would say 4 over CJ.
I'd put
probably,
him 3
honestly.
at this point. I put him 3.
Over Josh Allen.
Yes. At this point, yes.
Looking at a quarterback, and you're saying that.
Yeah, I would, man. The 2 10-1 starts, the way he played in the Super Bowl last year, he proved himself in the playoffs that he's clutch. He played a great game. He had one bad play in the Super Bowl in the fumble.
He did.
The fumble for a touchdown was bad. That was the one bad play.
It's just like we just talked about Josh Allen against the Chiefs. It's very hard to compare things.
Listen, I'm not taking anything away from Josh Allen because Josh Allen's at 4 for me. Okay. It's Mahomes, Burrow, Hurts, Josh Allen, Trevor
Lawrence. I love Trevor Lawrence. I just think he's been underwhelming this year personally.
Yeah.
Even though I was very high on him, if you look at any tape from before this, I called him top 5.
I'm going to change that up, actually.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Lamar Jackson at 5. I'm going to go Lamar at 5, actually, instead.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I'm going to go Lamar at 5.
You know what? I'm kicking Tua to the curb like this. I'm kicking him. I'm putting Lamar there. It makes more sense.
Lamar, you can make, I think, more of an argument.
Yeah, for sure. I might have been too quick on the Tua thing, but
I was a little taken back by the Tua thing. But
it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, everybody makes mistakes.
Pick up my phone and drop it because I definitely had some notes. But yeah, that's my top 5.
That's your top 5. I mean, I don't disagree. I think it's a good list.
But let's stay for a second because I want to ask you this.
Okay.
Like, how do you feel about this weekend's game? Niners-Eagles. Niners open up as a 2.5 point
favorite when the Eagles are home.
The Eagles are at home. I feel like that could hurt the Niners.
I think that's a trap.
I do too, and I think that's what the Eagles would want. Eagles have just always embodied this underdog mentality.
That was the worst thing they could do. I think that's just as bad as fans that go to the Rocky statue.
I would totally agree. I think disrespecting the Eagles at home. I think the Niners now better bring your A game because the Eagles, they love being disrespected.
That D line, it needs to come in hot, or else the Eagles are going to take this game. I mean, I don't think it's going to be an pretty win. If the Eagles win this game, I don't think it's going to be a pretty one.
I think for either team, I think it's going to be a grind.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a hard-fought game. I think it's going to be a lot of sacks. There's going to be a lot of miscues and such like that. It's going to be loud. That stadium is going to be erupting. I mean, we're going to be down at the tailgate doing some interviews. I'm sure we're going to see how loud it is before the game.
Yeah. Weather could be a factor again. They're saying it could rain again for the game like it did last week. So
really?
Yeah, they're saying weather could be a factor again, which kind of sucks for us because we want to talk to the people. But
yeah,
I'm gonna just come around with an umbrella.
Talking to people. Yeah, maybe we need an umbrella person.
Yeah,
who just holds it.
Yeah,
I think that can make sense.
Pay a guy like $4 an hour.
Yeah, exactly. I think somebody would take
$20 over the day.
But yeah, about that game, let's keep on that because I like that topic.
Let's on it. The matchups are interesting.
What do you think they do to Brock Purdy?
Well, do I think they're going to injure him again? Well, probably not.
I really hope not.
But
might see him on purpose.
I think they're going to bring, similar schemes that they brought in the second half of the Chiefs game. Bring in an extra guy, applying pressure to him. But you got to be careful doing that because you can leave your secondary out to dry. And the Eagles secondary has been their Achilles heel this year. I think they've gotten burned a lot. And listen, the 49ers have a lot of playmakers. And it starts with, Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. You have an all-pro tight end.
He's absolutely been tearing it up this year. I'm mad at myself for not picking him up.
Best running back in football, but I get it. Like why people don't pick him up because he's had the injury bug.
This is the first year I didn't. So I mean,
McCaffrey, good offensive line. The Trent Williams matchup is going to be interesting with him and Hassan. So we'll see that a lot.
I'm excited to see that.
Purdy, who's been good. Debo.
He puts the ball where he needs to put it.
Debo back. Brandon Ayuk. Having a very good year. 800 and something yards receiving. He's
Brandon Ayuk, 100% a top 10 wide receiver in this league. Yeah. I don't know if you can argue that anymore. I mean, you could have going into this year for sure. I don't think he was. You need a magnet for your
These
phone,
Lulu pockets
bro.
are just not cutting it.
It's the pockets, guys. But yeah, like I was saying.
So Brandon Ayuk will probably be matched up with, I would say, Bradbury will probably be the matchup with him.
Should be.
Debo's probably going to be matched up more or less with, I mean, they'll probably flip-flop, but Slay will probably be on Debo, I would think.
I would think so. Big play Slay.
Yeah.
I think he'd be on Debo.
But Eagles, I think, want to play a similar game that they played in the NFC Championship. They want to hold the football. They want to keep that offense off the field. And
don't let them run
the ball down the 49ers' throat like they did in the NFC Championship.
That's why I think it really comes down to the defensive line for honestly both teams.
Yeah.
Like what they do will depend on how like who's the winner. And like I think that D-line, like both sides, they need to step up. I mean, they have been stepped up to the best defenses in the league, 100%.
Yeah, I didn't feel great about going into the game until I saw the line that they put on it. Now I feel better about it. After seeing that line of them disrespecting Philly, I feel better about the game. Because I have a feeling Kyle Shanahan's going to run a lot of plays, a lot of quick screens to McCaffrey. They're going to want to get the ball out of Purdy's hand fast. That's going to be the main thing. And listen, they have the playmakers to do it. They can get it out. They can run screens with Debo. They can hand the ball off to Debo. They have the best running back in football, and they have they have a good offensive line. So Eagles are in for a tall task. It can go either way. I wouldn't be surprised either way.
Yeah,
San Fran wants to come back and punch the Eagles in the face.
I mean,
after last
they
year's
did.
loss.
Like we talked about this. This is kind of a big. The next two weeks. I mean, the last 3 weeks, if you count last game, this is the biggest challenge for the Eagles this year. They need to step up.
You think more so than going on the road and playing the Chiefs?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think going on the road versus the Cowboys is a huge test to them. I mean, like the Cowboys are very good.
They already like faced. My bad to interrupt you, but I love the fact that they faced Kansas City 2 weeks ago. And like they got that challenge, like they had to play against Mahomes. They because like Purdy's nowhere near as mobile as Mahomes is. And
no, definitely not. But that the offense surrounding him definitely.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
like
they have a lot of moving parts.
I mean, like the Chiefs. The only reason why they're contenders ever is because, especially this year, is because of Patrick Mahomes and honestly, Kelsey. Obviously, like those two, they're. They're just the best. And Isaiah Pacheco, don't forget about that boy. That boy has been running crazy hard this year.
Pacheco for sure, but like not only is Mahomes the best
wide receivers though suck.
Their wide receivers aren't good, but they put together great schemes for the wide receivers. Like you ever watch them come up to the line?
Yeah,
there are always players in motion.
Coaching.
There's always players in motion. There's always players running cross routes. And they'll run 5 wide receivers.
And they're fast.
They're fast,
but they have no hands.
They can't catch. But they run these 5 wide receiver schemes, and it's like you have so many men in motion. It's so tough to defend, especially when you have a guy running the offense like Mahomes, who'll roll out to his left, roll out to his right, and you can't tackle the guy.
Yeah,
like you can't. It's like never say die with this guy. It's like even when you're tackling him, he still finds a way to sidearm throw it 30 yards downfield and give his receiver a chance. So I like the fact that they did that, but yeah, it's a totally different offense that the Niners run. They have arguably the best offensive mind in football in Shanahan.
I mean, yeah, I would say he is.
Yeah, the schemes that he's going to run, it's going to be interesting. I'm nervous about the game. I don't feel super comfortable about it. But
I would be more honestly if the line was changed. It was -2.5 Eagles. I'd be so on Niners money line. I'd be so on it, but I cannot be on it at -2.5 coming into Lincoln Financial Field.
And the Eagles just find a way to win games. They just find a way to win games.
We have talked about this. I mean, this team, I mean, yes, like you said, 10-1, 2 years in a row, absolutely amazing accomplishment. Have these wins, like when is it gonna change? When like there's got to be a time when they're winning all these like slight matchups, like the other team's messing up just a little bit too much, like they do, like mess up 3 times, which probably won't happen when it's Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the playoffs and stuff like that. Like when do you think this magic just can run out, or do you think it ever will?
It could and it could not. That's the thing. It's like they could just be destined to win it this year. It's like could be their year.
It's like 2017.
Yeah, it could be just their year. Things are falling into place. But I love that they have this stretch of just really tough games that it's going to prep them for the playoffs. They're having this test week in and week out. And next week again, it's no easy game. They go down to Dallas and they got to play Dallas in Dallas, which I expect them to lose that game. I think they lose that. I think they split with Dallas this year. Yeah. And then you'll have your Skip Baylesses of the world, your Shannon Sharps
I think that's a good thing.
I agree. Yeah, I don't think it's.
I think you have to lose to win.
Yeah, I think you lose and you learn. Hopefully, you need to learn.
That's the
you
lessons.
learn more when
you need those lessons.
So I didn't think the Eagles were going to go perfect through this stretch. I expect 1 or 2 losses, but then you have a much easier schedule going into the playoffs with Giants twice, Cardinals. So,
which is that always a good thing? You know, like usually you like getting like really hot. You want to like be in that same motion.
Yeah,
it's gonna be like too easy of wins.
No, because I think this team, has the willpower I do. I think they have the mental, fortitude to keep moving forward. And they showed it last year. I mean, everybody said last year they had a weak schedule and they still got to the championship game.
Yeah.
And, I believe in this team, and I think, the grit is there, and they're hungry. They're hungry for more, and they want to get back, and they want to win it because they were so close to winning it last year.
Yeah.
They honestly were. They were a holding call. Listen, were the Chiefs, if they don't call that holding call, Chiefs kick a field goal, I have no doubt in my mind that the Eagles would have went right back down the field and at least tied the game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you feel about that, but Hurts played a great enough game where he was, especially in that fourth quarter when they finally figured out the defense and the blitzing schemes that the Chiefs were running. Hurts was able to move the ball down the field, and he did it the drive before, no problem. Mm-hmm. And I think he would have did it again. I think they would have at least tied the game. I think we would have had overtime if the Eagles would. And then whatever happens in overtime. But listen, Mahomes beat them in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. I give him all the credit in the world. Mahomes beat them in the Super Bowl. And who's the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs? Anyway, that guy was running Spagnuolo.
Insert name, yeah.
Steve Spagnuolo put together a scheme in the Super Bowl.
Why was I spacing on that?
Yeah, no, I saw his face.
About him last night.
Yeah. But Spagnuolo put together a great defensive scheme for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and they brought a lot more blitz packages, and Eagles never adjusted on their defensive side of the ball. But their defensive coordinator got a head coaching job, which was interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. I don't know how I feel about that.
Speaking of Eagles players, you talked to one last night. Well, former player, just retired an Eagle. Yes.
Deshaun Jackson. Such a good guy, nice guy. So happy he let me just randomly interview him. Shout out Wicked Wolf for letting that happen.
Yeah.
In terms of just Philly culture, what do you think your favorite thing about being in this area was?
Man, the city, the fans, man. I think that was the biggest thing I had. I had fun with the city and the fans, man.
They just die hard.
It was a great meet and greet. Guy's really nice. Manager was very nice to me. Just
Were you nervous?
Was I nervous? No, I don't think I was that nervous. I mean, it was probably not probably. That was my biggest interview yet, with somebody of actual importance rather than just college kids. Yeah. So it was a really cool experience.
1.5 million on Instagram.
Yeah.
Follower-wise.
Yeah. So huge. That guy's an amazing guy. Really he really thought about that one question.
Yeah. He's in the conversation for, best Eagles wide receiver of all time.
Of all time. I mean, growing up, he was my mom's favorite receiver. Actually. But absolute beast. So fast. I wasn't technically allowed to ask one question, but I wanted to ask one question. And
what was the question
the question I wanted to ask was about Chip Kelly. Yeah, but it wasn't really about Chip Kelly. The question written down that they didn't want to put in there. I just said, how was it being teammates with Macklin, Vic, and Shady? That was gonna be my question, which I kind of wanted to stir because they should have gotten a Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Why did Chip Kelly separate them?
I just think Vic was too old in the time that they were really trying to push the offense.
Yeah, but Shady and Deshaun
dude, I totally agree. And Brent Selleck was really good at the time.
Yeah,
Brent Selleck was a really good tight end. But
87.
They had Vic later on, and the problem with Vic was he was so good and he was such a natural talent. I still think Michael Vick is the best talent to ever play for the Eagles at the quarterback position.
Yeah, he's my only Eagles jersey. I have a signed Mike Vick jersey. It's my favorite jersey.
It's a good one to have.
It's a great one to have.
I wore his jersey on Sunday when we were down there.
Yeah, I know.
He was older, and he just didn't know how to protect himself. He never wanted to learn how to slide. Mm-hmm. He would dive into piles head first.
Yep.
And he became injury prone because he never protected himself.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the problem with Michael Vick. But yeah, Chip Kelly blew it up. But I'm so thankful for Chip Kelly because he made the Eagles so bad that they were able to get Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
And they fired him, brought in Peterson. They got Wentz, and then they
that's a whole different thing with me. I don't personally if my team is I didn't
want them to be bad, but in the long run, that gave us the ability to move up in the draft and pick, Wentz. But they weren't trying to tank. I think he honestly built that team thinking they were going to be good.
Only the Sixers actually tank.
Yes, they did. But I don't like the teams tank either. But the NBA, that's what you have to do to get now superstar players. Get a lottery pick. That's just how it is. It's you have to suck to get good.
Well, that's because they they set it up that way. They set up so the people who suck are the ones who get the best picks. I mean
and that's how
it should be. Yeah, 100%. But it also
should you be doing it the way?
Yeah, should you really there needs to be other incentives. I don't know if you have any ideas about what would be a way to get teams to keep playing toward the end of the year. It's such a hard thing to be like pinpoint. It's like, well, you guys could do this to make it so then teams can't tank. Like, for example, the NBA in-season tournament, like that's so then like teams keep their energy and like keep their stars playing more and more in the regular season.
Yeah.
Like, is there a way that like the NFL could like stop these teams that are going to try to tank for Caleb Williams in the last couple weeks?
Well, Caleb Williams is saying he's not even sure if he said it's a game time decision for him to even come out.
Well, that's what his dad said originally. He was like, if we don't like the team who has the number 1 overall pick, he's staying another year. Do you think that's smart? I personally don't think it's that smart.
I don't hate it. Like, I don't hate it. I get it, because you look at guys' careers who go to crappy teams. Situation is a huge deal. Look at Bryce Young right now.
But is it going to be any better next year?
Well, you reevaluate.
You reassess.
It's like if the Cardinals suck again next year, but if they draft Marvin Harrison this year, like I'm looking at Caleb Williams, going, okay, yeah, like that's a place I would like to play. I'd like to play with a guy like that. You know,
really?
What, Arizona?
I'm kidding.
I'd play in Arizona.
No, I'm kidding.
I feel like that's like, I mean, like
that's
a good spot. But like Arizona's fun. Arizona's a fun time.
Spot.
You know, like I wouldn't want to play in Cleveland when Cleveland was bad. I wouldn't want to play in. I mean, Green Bay used to be like.
I wouldn't even want to play in Cleveland when Cleveland's good.
It was good, exactly. Yeah. So, like, who would be the number 1 pick? Who's projected to be the number 1 pick? It's Chicago, right? Yeah, Chicago.
Yeah.
And they'll be stupid enough.
Bears.
And that's what I think. Like, they want to reevaluate. I think if Chicago's the number 1 pick, Caleb Williams ain't going to come out because they're going to be dumb enough to draft him.
DJ Moore?
They are going to be stupid enough to draft him. Like, I honestly believe it.
You fully believe that
yes,
they'd be stupid
I think they
enough.
are the dumbest organization in football, and I think they would draft Caleb Williams.
Stamp that. Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
The worst.
I honestly believe
their
they'd be that
management
dumb.
is
And they
not
don't
good
need
either.
it. Fields can play. Like, I don't know why they... Like,
I love Fields.
First overall
I
pick
like
should
them
be
at
Marvin
Ohio State.
Harrison. First overall pick should be Marvin Harrison if I'm the Chicago Bears.
Yeah?
Second, because they might have like two
Even after
top
what
4
Roman
picks.
Wilson said?
Yeah. Well, Roman Wilson, I love him. I really do. I love Roman Wilson, but Roman Wilson had no business saying what he said.
Yeah?
He was coming at him for his Louis Vuitton. I mean, Marvin Harrison don't even like talk trash like that.
Marvin
Harrison's stats double Roman Wilson's stats this year. Marvin Harrison is like 1,237 receiving yards with like 78 catches.
Like,
Roman Wilson has 43 catches
yeah.
for 608 yards.
Yeah, like why can't he have Louis V's on? You know what I mean?
He can do whatever he wants. He's the best
not?
He's the best college football player in the country.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, I think he's the best college football player in the country.
Yeah. How do you think he's going to translate? Very well?
Unbelievable. I think it's going to
Very
be
well?
no problem.
Very well?
How good of a route runner he is and just everything. And his hands.
He's
unbelievable,
dominant.
bro. He's unbelievable.
He's
in my opinion,
he's clutch too. He's a clutch player.
100%. And I think he is the best wide receiver talent coming out since Calvin Johnson.
Calvin Johnson. Yeah.
That's how good I think he is.
Okay. I really hope so.
Like Sammy Watkins was high. He was like really hyped up too, but he never
panned out as well as people like assumed
thought
he would.
Michael Crabtree too. Michael Crabtree was highly regarded too.
Michael Crabtree.
Like I'm thinking back on like the guys who were like super highly regarded too. They haven't worked out. Like Mike Williams at Clemson, like he's never turned out to be the top receiver that everybody thought he was going to be.
Injury prone too.
Injury prone, yeah.
That dude just
Jamar
gets hurt.
Jamar has. I feel like Jamar Chases.
Jamar is very, very legit. I feel so sorry for him and what he's having to deal with over in the Bengals.
Yeah, I mean it sucks, but in the same breath, like he's been to a Super Bowl, been to an AFC Championship twice.
Yeah,
like, he's been in the mix. It's not like he's like had just like crap quarterback.
Yeah,
like,
no, definitely not. It's just the fact that
won an Natty.
They should. Yeah, well, yeah, that doesn't hurt, but it's just the fact of what that team could be and what it has been. Like I think that's a big thing. Like that team, the injuries, like Joe Mixon having on and off years randomly. Like it's just really about that team. Like they're not as good as what they possibly could be. So I think Jamar, like, it's sad. I hope Joe Burrow gets better quicker because have both of them on my fantasy team. Need that guys.
All right, so you want to switch it over to I'm looking at inconsistent refereeing.
Yeah. Inconsistent refereeing, boys and girls.
It's selective refereeing.
So that's very true. It's been very selective with these refs. I don't know what's going on over there in the NFL. I don't like it. Tank Dell's catch. That was the craziest thing I've ever seen. We witnessed it together. poor guy Dan had him for over.
Oh no, Jordan Addison, you mean?
Jordan Addison, yeah. Why'd I say Tank? Well, Tank too.
I was like, oh no, what did he do?
You know, well, like, Tank too. Tank's been a culprit of this with calls getting like fucking thrown and him getting like that big catch. He had like one like 60-yarder he caught and they just didn't give it to him because the refereeing sucks. But yeah,
but Jordan Addison's catch, like I couldn't blame the refs. I mean, it was such a bang play, and like
I know
they should have challenged it. Should have been challenged.
So yeah, we were talking about that. Like it was very early in the first quarter. I think that's why they didn't do it. They didn't want to lose it. And I don't even think Jordan Addison knew he had the ball.
And you were like, nah, they'll be good. They'll be good. I was like, no, they probably should have challenged it. That was like a 65-yard play.
Oh, that was the worst game I've ever witnessed.
Like they didn't even think about me. Like that's what I'm like frustrated. They weren't even thinking about me. They weren't. They knew I had him for 40+ yards, and
Vegas knew. They made the call. 39 yards. Could not get the 40.
And this is your team. I was telling you. I was like, can you at least just tell them to like cover the game and like.
Yeah, I mean, I tried DMing Kyle O'Connell, but it just didn't work. He didn't want to do it for you.
But the refs have been inconsistent for a long time.
The refs are always inconsistent, but that's the thing. I've always argued this too. It's like that's human error in games. I mean, like I've told you this. There's holding on every call, like or on every play. There's always a holding, like with the offensive line and defensive line. It just depends on when they call it, which is like kind of annoying. But that's the human error of sports. That's why it's like it's got to be still implemented.
The college reffing's been bad too. Did you watch the Iron Bowl?
I did not personally watch it.
There was the worst missed call that I've ever seen in my life.
What was it?
A blatant face mask, like
I think
almost ripped the guy's head off on like a kickoff. They didn't call that. They called like block in the back.
Oh, I saw this post. Riley posted it, reposted it.
One of the worst missed calls I've ever seen in my life. And then they had to give Auburn a makeup call, so they called some like stupid touchdown back. But it was on Bama. It would have been on Bama, the face mask, because he did literally almost got his like helmet like yanked off his head, and they didn't call it. Worse, like so that even goes to show it's like. Do you think they should be able to like challenge missed calls or, bad calls? They brought that into the league for like a year.
Yeah, I mean, that's hard to say. Like I think as a fan and as somebody who gambles, I would say yes. I would love if they could do that because there's some very bad calls. But then also, like I said, it's really about the human error of sports.
But then how pissed would you be if like you don't want something called off?
That's exactly. That's very true too. It would work both ways. Pros
so it's
and
like
cons.
it's almost like you want that in sports. Like in baseball, there's been so many like controversial. Like
balls
that are foul, balls that are fair that they called.
And people hate on me for my opinion on that. But as a baseball player, I loved having umps and such like that. Like there's like technology that they want to implement where it's like, oh, this is a strike, like whatever. Like they're gonna use technology in ways to decide what a call is, but I don't think that's right. I don't think that's what baseball is. Like that's the point, is like to have error. It's also like you're supposed to like read up on your refs and umps, guys. I don't know if you guys knew that, but professional sports players, like they actually read up on these umps and refs, especially like Kobe. Kobe used to know everything about the referees, and he would know when they're not looking. He would do certain things. Like that's part of the game. Like you got to keep that intact. So I do not want to see that gone.
So I'll just keep going down your list here.
Yeah.
Super Bowl contenders, sleepers. Let's start with that. Do you want to start with the NFC or the AFC?
Let's start with AFC.
Okay. So the playoff picture right now is what? Why don't we just take a quick look?
Yeah, we've got Dolphins holding up the AFC East right now.
Okay. So here's
I think they've got it.
We'll go with the leaders. I'll start at the top. Baltimore at 9-3. They're your number 1 seed right now. Kansas City at the 2 seed. Jacksonville at the 3 seed, 8-3. Miami at 8-3. They'd be the 4 seed. And then you get into the wild card teams. Pittsburgh at 7-4.
Yeah.
Cleveland at 7-4. Indianapolis Colts at 6-5.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm fully out on the Steelers and Kenny Pickett, even though I like their defense a lot. I think their offense is absolutely atrocious. I think Najee Harris is terrible. Terrible.
You think they get better, though, with a different offensive coordinator?
I think they should, in theory. In theory, they definitely should. But do I see them, like, sneaking in and making a run? No.
Okay.
I'm out on them. Even though, like, George Pickens has been non-existent. I don't know what's up with him. Haven't heard his name once on ESPN. Feels like Deontay Johnson, solid guy. He's one of my flexes in my fantasy leagues. Same with almost every single receiver because I'm in 5 leagues. But yeah, I'm totally out on them. So obviously, I think the Chiefs come out of it all. Like, I think there's no debate. Like, of course, it's like, oh, like OJ, yeah, you're just gonna say that because they're the best team. You don't want to think about it any longer. No, I actually do just think Patrick Mahomes does it in the playoffs. I'm not at like and sleeper, like low key, like I don't know, because Jonathan Taylor just got hurt again, and the Browns are trash.
How do you like this for a sleeper? Because I have Buffalo's not even in the playoff picture right now. I think if Buffalo finds a way to get into the playoffs, they can be a sleeper.
Yeah, their team isn't, but yeah, it's sneaking in. Sleeper.
The 3 teams on the outside looking in, Buffalo's 6-6, but you have the Denver Broncos, and the Houston Texans.
Had a really, really good run.
And the Houston Texans.
Good run. Yeah.
Like a young, fearless quarterback like C.J. Stroud, like you said. But like you said, the Broncos
I think he would get in trouble in the playoffs this early in his career.
I think he could, but he also couldn't because he showed up in the biggest game of his life against Georgia.
He's fearless. He throws the ball without even thinking about
confidence.
it. Yeah.
He has a ton of confidence, and he showed up like people thought Georgia were going to smoke Ohio State last year in that college football playoff game, and he showed up and played out. I did.
Yeah.
I bet the house on Georgia, but he showed up, so I don't think the pressure would really phase him.
Yeah.
It's just
I just think I think misreads would.
Yeah,
I think just being in a playoff.
I think he would play a good game.
Different than college, but yeah.
I do. I think he would play anybody he would have to play well.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think he would win? I don't know. To me, a sleeper, I don't know if you consider it a sleeper, but to me, the sleeper in the AFC, because the team that's kind of flown under the radar this year, to me, is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think the Jaguars can make something happen. They have a quarterback who's been in the big moment.
Dougie P has started taking over the play calling again after giving it like a short leash. That was a terrible thing to do, in my opinion.
And Doug Peterson's got, he's got the balls. He'll go for it on 4th down. He don't care. Now he's got the playmakers to do it. I think Jacksonville could beat any team in the AFC. I really do. When you have a quarterback as talented as Trevor Lawrence, I think I give you, a chance to beat any of these teams. Kansas City would be my pick again.
Obviously, that's like
Baltimore
should be everybody's pick. I'm pretty high on Baltimore this year.
But the playoffs have to go through Baltimore. Baltimore has to hold on to that number 1 spot. Yeah. If it's going through Arrowhead, I don't really think anybody's going to go in.
No, not at all. So yeah, I wouldn't say they're a sleeper, but I would say my sleeper would be the Ravens. Okay. I think anybody's a sleeper except for the Chiefs, in my opinion, just because the Chiefs kind of hold it down.
All right.
Go into NFC.
Flip it over to the NFC.
Yep. Obviously, number 1 seed.
That would be the Philadelphia Eagles. No surprise there.
Yep.
We'll drop it down to number 2, which is the San Francisco 49ers. Detroit Lions at 3. The Atlanta Falcons leading the division at 5-6. Inspiring. Dallas Cowboys, Seattle Seahawks, Minnesota Vikings to round out the NFC playoff picture.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, your Super Bowl contender that you already think of right off the bat is obviously a rematch of the Chiefs Eagles. Can definitely happen.
I don't think we're gonna get it though. Somebody's gonna be flipped.
I don't think the script.
I think the script
Philly
writers
want it.
I said Philly Cincy to begin the year. That's what I thought would be their Super Bowl.
Until what just happened.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a little different now.
I don't know why. If Buffalo finds a way to get into the playoffs, I don't know why I have a feeling they would make a run.
I think they have to. I think that Josh Allen has to, like, for his career.
Philly-Buffalo would be so fun. Like, the fan bases coming together in a Super Bowl would be so fun.
I mean, they're both wild people.
Yeah.
Like, wild peoples.
Yeah. So Philly rounds it. Like I said, Philly at the top. San Fran, very good team.
Yep.
Detroit to me still like questionable because I feel like this is the first year
I don't think
really
Detroit will do anything in the playoffs whatsoever.
I just think
I don't
they're
think that
still
they can
like
do it.
on the come up. I just feel like they're still like finding their stride, and I think they've had a very good year and a half because they finished the year last year with like 7 straight wins, and they would have been going into the playoffs extremely hot.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, to make the playoffs, but
that upset me last year. That upset me. I wanted to see them.
I wanted to see them get in too because their coach is awesome. So they're going to have a home playoff game most likely. They're probably going to win that division. But you have Dallas at the 5 seed, Seattle, and then Minnesota. And I think Seattle could make some noise.
I was just about to say that. That's kind of my sleeper. Gino, I mean, he's a leader. He knows how to do things right. Obviously, Pete Carroll over there holds it down really well.
Won a Super Bowl. It's been two.
Yeah, so he knows how to keep the pressure, like, just enough, like, to not scare them, but to motivate them. So I do like the Seahawks as my sleeper.
Offensively, they have the playmakers to make plays.
I think so, too. I think they need to make sure Kenneth Walker is healthy.
Of course.
I think he needs to be healthy. Zach Charbonnet, I don't know if I'm saying that name right. Their other running back.
Their other running back, okay.
He's young, rookie. He's really good, but he's not going to do it. They need Kenneth Walker for sure.
Yeah.
DK, Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett needs to step up if they want something, honestly. He's an X factor for them. DK's going to do DK, but I think if Tyler Lockett has a good game, usually the Seahawks win.
And slot receiver, Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Yeah, I mean, JSN, young rookie guy. I was high on him coming into this year in general.
Yeah.
I think that they have a good core.
They played in the playoffs last year. They played San Fran. They just weren't good enough to beat San Fran. San Fran's just a better team.
San Fran, yeah.
San Fran.
It's the top 2 team in the league right now.
Yeah. Philly and them, I think, are the best 2 in football.
And I don't think that has changed all year.
Yeah. I honestly believe one of those 2 teams is going to win the Super Bowl. I think that's going to –
barring any injuries, 100%.
Yeah. Both healthy. That's, to me, one of those 2 teams are going to win the Super Bowl this year. I think they're better than the AFC. AFC is just depleted right now. The Chiefs are not what they were because of their
this could be the Chiefs' off year.
Yeah. But they'll be back.
I think they need a break.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping they do.
So that's how I feel about AFC, NFC. Those are the sleepers. That's what we got. The next and last thing that we'll kind of bring up on this podcast to make it more a little fun, because we kind of just went, we did a deep dive there. The No Fun League, the NFL. That's what they should be called. The No Fun League. Because of the tutty celebrations. I just don't, it's insane how, like, there's really nothing anymore. It's boring. It's
I
not
think
as
they're corny though.
I don't
hate
think it was even as good as last year with the gritty. Like, I think the gritty was way more hype. You had, like, people who were not good at it doing it. Like, like Gesicki. Gesicki was doing it. Like, Mac Jones was doing it.
Mac Jones's wasn't terrible.
What?
Mac Jones's wasn't terrible.
It was pretty bad. But
just compared to Gesicki. Gesicki was a train wreck.
Yeah, Gesicki. Yeah, that was bad. The No Fun League, the NFL, that's what they're called from now on. It's been boring. I have not seen anything good. We've seen the squabble from C.J. Stroud and Tank Dell. They hit the little squabble with it. That's been the best dance this year.
Bring back the old celebrations. Terrell Owens, to me, had the best celebrations. This man put a Sharpie in his...
Oh my God.
My phone's staying there. I'm not picking it up again.
Number 3, guys.
That's
Number
it.
3, guys.
3 strikes, I'm out. It's not coming up.
Oh,
but T.O. to me had the best celebrations of all time.
Yeah.
This man put a Sharpie in his shoe, in his sock, knowing when he scored a touchdown, he would autograph the ball and hand it to a fan. And he did that. That is the goated celebration.
That's fire. That's a good one. Didn't he also, when he was not on the Eagles, do the Fly Eagles Fly?
Yeah, he also did it when he was on the Eagles.
When he was on the Eagles, I know. And then when he was off it,
with the Cowboys.
As a little mimic thing. But yeah.
But he did the Ray Lewis dance too, which was phenomenal. He scored against them on Halloween 2004.
See, that's fun. Like, bring back chirping and taking, like, jabs at the other team. Allow that. Like, why can't you talk trash? Like, in the NFL, you can literally be in somebody's face and talk smack to them, but you can't do a peace sign when you're running to the end zone, when, like, you just burn them. Like, why can't you hit up the peace sign? It makes no sense. Because, like, that's taunting. Like, what's taunting about that?
It's corny.
Yeah, No Fun League. That's what I feel about it. But, Dan, thank you so much. We just sat here and talked football like we do on every single day. But it's been fun. Comment, like, subscribe. Follow Enterprise Sports Dan, both of them. It's been fun. Appreciate you, Dan. Thank you for coming out.
Appreciate you having me, man.
Shout out USALA.